Wow. What the hell? That's pretty wild. Well, folks, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's happened. Oh, now we seem to have multiple images playing. I don't know why that is. All right. I'm confused. Not for the first time. Please, God, tell me you've just seen the last. Well, I've been doing it now for almost an hour, and then there was a big conniption. Did you go? Have you not seen anything in the last hour? Can I just ask? Or is this a whole other show that somehow generated and just started, Paul? Okay. Well, I am completely amazed, slightly disappointed, and very sorry to all of you. I've just done the show, but for some reason you didn't see it. And then there was this huge conniption thing happened, and I got kicked. Everything happened, got kicked, and it kicked the stream. I am really confused. I only just got the notification, Michelle. All right, well, pardon me just one moment, because clearly I wasn't quite expecting you. Let me just pop out of here for a minute, and I'll hit the button, and we'll go again, shall we? That's weird. It just kicked me out again when I went to try and play the opener. Let's have another go, shall we?
Do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Right. Let's pretend that it's really weird. Welcome to the show, folks. I hope you've had a great day. Let me think where I started. I started with apologising to the people who turned up at the Byron Bay RSL tonight expecting me to be there. I expected me to be there, but through a whole course of different events, we had to head back a little bit early, unfortunately. I did, however, get the opportunity to catch up with the man of the hour, who may well be almost home. Harm, who is a man in our chat quite regularly and a great supporter of the Voice of Freedom, he ordered himself some 1/10 Ainslie rounds and asked me when I was going to Brisbane if I would mind picking them up for him. I said, no, all right, no worries. And guess what? I'm coming to Byron. He said, that's handy because I'm in Byron. So we had lunch today. It was lovely. We went to the Railway Hotel, or the Stone and Wood Hotel. I had a magnificent Pacific Ale and a very nice hamburger, if I must say so. And then we travelled across the road to Fundies. Now, Fundies is a great coffee shop and a big organic store. Everything organic, everything healthy you can find in there at Fundies. Now, it's right across the road from the Railway Cafe or Railway Hotel, the Stone and Wood pub, and very easy to find. pop in and say g'day to Paul and his team there. The cafe is magnificent. The coffee, Paul is the owner. Paul is a coffee connoisseur and has his own blends. It's very, very nice. We had a magnificent latte, Harm and I, and a great chat with Paul, who's a former mayor, I think, of Byron Bay, but a big supporter of the Byron Bay Bob, and would be at the event at the RSL this evening too. But he accepts the Byron Bay Bob in Fundies, and he also sells them. So if you want, and you're in Byron and you want to have a bit of fun with the Byron Bob, experience how it actually works at a number of businesses around Byron Bay, and they're growing on a daily basis, then pop into Fundies and Bob will sell you a few. At the moment, they have a nominated value, I think, I know of $10. They also have put a value of $32 on the half bob, and the full bob, which is the full ounce, is $55. Now, that's not too bad. If you went to Fundies and wanted, I don't know if they do breakfasts, but they do very nice meals and everything else, but I'm pretty sure they'll do breakfast. So you want to do breakfast for two and a couple of coffees, it's going to cost you, what, $25, $26 each, maybe $30 each. But you flip over one of those full bobs, if you like, and that'll get you $55 worth of value. And if it was a little bit more, then you maybe throw over one of the 1/10 bobs, the baby bobs, and that's worth $10. Leave somebody a tip. It's worth checking out. It's a really interesting way of a local economy being able to thrive and generate an alternate. I was going to say currency, but that is completely the wrong term for it. An alternate economy with actual real value in what is being transacted. You always know what the price of silver will be, that it's a value, and gold for that matter. But in this case, we're talking the Byron Bob. You always know what the value will be. So anyway, go and check it out. Had a great time in Byron today. I've got to say, it's been a while since I've been down there. It's very busy at the moment. Maybe it's like that all the time now. But the roads haven't changed much, which is a tad unfortunate, but beautiful, beautiful day for it too. So I'm sorry I missed everybody. I will be back down because I'm coming back to catch up with David and maybe Paul, and we'll do a bit more Byron Bob exploring around town. All right, so let's get back to the top of the show, shall we? Lovely to see everybody in. Nice to see Pete. The gold 1/10 Kookaburra could well be a banquet, my friend. Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, trying to get that up there. Yeah, it'd be a very big one. Now, I am going to have to start from the top. So I'm going to show you a video that you've probably seen, I don't know how many times in the last little while. And I'm just sort of going through and saying hello to it, or trying to say hello to everybody. I did, thanks, Crunch. Yeah. Righto. So I'm going to start with a video that you've all no doubt seen, but I'm playing it to you for a reason. This is what I'm calling the full-length version of the assassination attempt. Check this out.
Something that said, take a look at what happened.
Okay. And that was the final shot you sort of heard there, that before they started getting the all clear that the shooter was dead. I'm going to play it for you a bit slower. This time I want you to watch closely, really closely. The first time I've slowed it down and left all the audio in. The second time I've tried to isolate as much of the bad or extraneous audio as I can and leave just the gunshots and some of the other bits there for you. So have a listen. One slowed down. The second one is slowed down even further. So now I want you to watch Trump here. Shot goes to the ear after, and he buckles on his right side before he goes down. Did you see that? Let's have another watch. I reckon it looks like something's caught him in the ribs. That made me think, let's go and have a look at, what sort of images we can find of Donald Trump and his ribs. Well, first image I found was this one, which pertains to show the bullet going past his head. I don't know. Not quite sure whether that's up for it or not. That doesn't look like it's an 8K picture to me. It doesn't look like it's taken with extremely high speed, and it would have to be extremely high speed cameras to catch the bullet. So, they shoot everything in 8K, the presidential people. Another sort of technology they employ where they take a snapshot, a photo of everybody at the event, and that photo is of such high definition they can zoom in and identify people and probably the fillings they have in their teeth. But anyway, that one's I'm dubious about. This is a shot of Trump standing up. All right, bit of blood on his ear, and that's what our eye is attached to or attracted to. But if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, what does that look like to you? All right, let's have a closer look. That looks like a bullet hole to me on the right side of his chest. And we'll zoom in a bit closer. I mean, hard to be absolutely sure, I'm sure, but it does appear that it could, I think, be a bullet hole. I reckon he was probably hit twice. Obviously wearing a vest, so all good. And the shooter, apparently they're trying to make people believe he had an AR-15. An AR-15 is not an assault weapon, an assault rifle. It's an armor-light to begin with, and very low caliber. It's like 22 or 223. Well, 223 would probably make a mess. But if it was a 22, and it doesn't sound like a heavy caliber gun when he's firing it sounds like a 22. The vest is going to stop that 22 bullet with ease, and that might explain why there was just a little, flinch and unexpected, punch in the chest, if you like, before Trump then went down. And the third shot ran past. Now, this bloke, Thomas Matthew Crooks, his background at the moment is saying that particularly kids who went to school with him said, oh, look, he tried to try out for the school shooting team on a number of occasions, wasn't any good at it, so never made the team. He was a bad shot from those that knew him best. He was only 20 years old, so it's only a little while ago that he was at school, obviously. And maybe, I don't know, in the intervening time, he went out and became supposedly a better shot, but not good enough. Clearly good enough to hit an ear. And Trump does move, if you watch the video, and I'll let you watch it again yourself if you want to. But the way that he's looking and the way that his head just moves, it would only have to move millimeters, and it does. Otherwise, it would have caught him pretty much through the right eye, I think. We'll go to that in a minute. I was going to skip ahead of myself. Let's not skip ahead. let's have a look at the video. So here is the audio and the video of this slowed down. So what it looks like. All right. Now I'm going to say shooter every time the shooter fires a shot, I believe. All right. Shooter, 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 shooter. I don't know how many that was. Shooter, shooter, maybe 5. Play it one more time. Have a watch. Shooter, 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 shooter. Why am I saying it on those and not the others? All right, let's bring up a picture and show you what this looks like. Okay, for the moment, take no notice of the little red and green lines that I'm drawing. Just let's start with the first upright waveform line that is a spike and has the red line beside it. But see how high that spike goes? That's an audio level. Okay, now you can tell that the first 2 shots are almost exactly the same audio level. The third smaller shot where the first green line is, that's not the shooter. The next red one is the shooter. Again and again, the next red one. You can tell they're all within a 15th of each other when it comes to audio or audio-wise. Now, the first green line is the first thud that you hear. Shot, thud, right? Now, he was only shooting a distance of about 150 meters. So the travel time of the weapon, which I reckon is a 22. When you listen to that sound, I reckon it's not a heavy caliber weapon. However, when you hear or see the return fire coming through, and they are the third green line. Possibly the second green line. I'm still not 100% convinced that is actually the first return fire shot. Nor the first green line. I thought for a minute that might be the first return shot from the Secret Service, but I don't think that is the case. I think that is an impact sound rather than a return shot. And the time difference between them, when you hear it in real time, they wouldn't have had time to react. So I think that's an impact sound. The second red line indicates the second shooter's shot, and I think that first, or rather second green line, is pointing to the first actual return round. Another shooter shot, another shooter shot, another return fire round. I've indicated a red line on the next one, but I actually think that shouldn't have been. That was a green line, and I just mucked it up. And then the last 2 green lines, I think, are shots from further, or at least one shot from further away from the microphone. So you have to understand that all things are relative to where the microphone for this was located. So stronger audio, higher level audio indicates that this microphone was closer to the shooter than it was to the people firing back at the shooter that killed him. and all the other noise in between. So I thought, I don't know, you might find that just a little bit interesting, if not totally confusing. Let me see. What do you mean, how come my intel didn't let me know this was happening, Spike? Spike, I don't know. You're trying to be a smart ass. It's been a long day. And you could just be the dickhead troll that I might be bothered with tonight. Where do I get my intel from? If you haven't been listening, maybe because I don't recognize your name, I gather this might be the first time you've joined us because you've either just learned how to spell Voice of Freedom or my name. But we've been saying for some time that this weekend, I was saying the 15th, but in America it would have been the 14th, that, things were predicted to happen. Didn't know what. Absolutely no idea what. But we had said that. You can go back and watch the shows. They're there. All right? Not just me. Many people have been saying this. So we also have been predicting a Trump assassination attempt. We've been doing that for a long time. We've heard it multiple times. We've also heard that it was a planned fake assassination attempt. There is another school of thought that says that the Antichrist will survive a head wound and go on to continue with the plan. There are lots of plans out there. Maybe, Spike, you should look at them all before you start, asking stupid questions. But anyway, yes, it's not over yet too, Spike. I'll tell you, there are more things, I believe, going to happen in the next 7 to 10 days. Big things, significant things. Biden might play a role in some of that. It might not be. Not in the tribulation, mate. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe the snake is eating its tail, though. That is something we should be, I think, a little bit interested in, keeping an eye out for. All right, so there's a couple of other bits and pieces I would like to show you. Let's talk about the sniper. This is the sniper. Now, his name is Jonathan Willis. He says that down on the very bottom of this screen. Unless you've got a big screen and better eyes than me, you'll be able to read it. But I've blown it up on a different screen. So let me just make sure the microphone's working. Yes, good. He says, "Hi, my name is Jonathan Willis. I'm the officer in the famous photo of the two snipers on the roof at Trump's rally. I came here to inform the public that I had the assassin in my sights for at least 3 minutes. Head of the Secret Service refused to give the order to take out the perp. 100% the top brass prevented me from killing the assassin before he took the shots at President Trump." That's what that says down the bottom there. Then he goes on to say, "I didn't follow the orders, though. As soon as the shooter opened on Trump, I returned fire. Strict orders not to engage. Despite the strict orders not to engage. I had eyes on the shooter for 3 minutes, watching him fiddle with his rifle and adjust the scope. It was obvious he was a shooter, yet I wasn't allowed to engage. After I killed the shooter, I was arrested, questioned by the FBI, and just released an hour ago. Already lost my job for not following orders, but I'm glad I took the shots anyway." Okay, let's just go back to that. If he was the shooter that killed him, the sniper, if he was the sniper that killed the shooter, then I believe his shots were these last two, one green, one red, toward the latter part of that screen shot you're seeing there. I'm more inclined to believe it was the last one where the red line's pointing that actually did the job. but you have to sort of listen to it in real time to understand how fast they did react. But oh, well, okay, let's just play this. So I'm trying to get to the part where the multiple gunshots come through. So did you see how fast that sort of happened? 3 shots. 1, 2, 3.
I see something that said, take a look at what happened.
So there's 3 shots there. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, and then the last one that you just heard there, I believe, is the first return fire shot. That might have been the last return fire shot we heard there. So it happened very, 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 very quickly. But remember the timing of the first 3 shots.
I see something that said, take a look at what happened.
So I just want to go back here to what the sniper was saying, because he was quite adamant, and you won't be able to read that. Oh, that's the wrong one. You won't be able to read this, I doubt, but I've got a bit of it here. My name is Jonathan Wills. I'm the officer in the famous photo. 2 of the snipers on the roof at Trump rally. I came here to inform the public I had the assassin in my sights for at least 3 minutes, but the head of the Secret Service refused to order the perp to shoot the perp. 100% the top brass prevented me from killing the assassin before he took the shots at Trump. But yada, yada, yada. I kept going. All good. Beautiful work. Then how was the perp able to get 3 shots off? I can understand 1, but you've got to think, if you're a sniper and you're sitting on the roof and you've been watching this bloke for 3 minutes through what is a very powerful scope with a rangefinder on it and wind bloody LiDAR, the whole bloody deal. How is it that the perp was able to get shots 2 and 3 off? Because that's about 1, 2, 3. That's the sort of timing we're talking about. And yet this sniper supposedly had the perp in his sights and says as soon as he started firing on Trump, he started shooting back. Well, the audio evidence doesn't back that up. Yes, he did start, after the multiple shots started going in. But those first 3 shots, 1, 2, 3, 1.5, 2 seconds almost worth of shooting, this guy didn't pull the trigger. I just find that strange. But I've never been in that situation. A sniper, I would have thought, be highly trained, wouldn't get excited when they see the first shot, and they go, oh, we shot, I get to have a go. Because he clearly made that decision up. He wasn't averted to look at Trump and see whether or not Trump had survived. They're trained enough not to do that. Maybe they're not. Maybe he did look. I don't know. There is some curious things about that, I would have said. Do you agree or do you not agree? I just think, yeah. Well, all right. You would think Secret Service would have got to him after the first or the second shot. Secret Service is a whole other ballgame. I believe that Donald Trump's Secret Service, let me just mute that. I believe that his Secret Service is not Secret Service. I believe that Donald Trump, while being an ex-president, is afforded Secret Service operations and protection. He is not given the full protection that the likes of Obama and Bush and the Clintons and whatnot got. because something happened when Biden got in and it sort of got pared back a bit. Now, when he was in the White House, Trump didn't trust the Secret Service when he went in, so he had his own personal security, who were all very highly trained, very highly trained. However, they were taken into Secret Service, done some Secret Service training, obviously learned some of their techniques and ways and means. There was a head of Secret Service that was in charge of the presidential detail, obviously. But for the most part, the large majority of men around him, men and women around him protecting him, came from his own business. And he employed them personally and took them with him when he left. And I'm suspecting a lot of them will be this. However, these blokes and lady have absolutely no idea what's going on. I've seen, look at this. I've not known, and look, I'm not Secret Service. I don't know their handbook. But, I mean, if you are at a rally and a shot has been taken, the Secret Service don't automatically assume that if they hear the call, the shooter's down, that there was only one shooter. Okay, they just don't. They assume that there are multiple shooters, and the last anybody will see of the president until he deems ready to come out in public again is him ducking down for cover. Now, this one tells everybody he's stopping for his shoes. All right, I can understand that. But the Secret Service do not take orders from the president when he has been the subject of an assassination attempt. They go into a protocol where they literally will pick the president up and run him out of a room. They mob him, obviously jump all over him. Okay, clearly that's been done. These people look like a herd of amateurs who do not know how to secure their primary. And, I mean, if there was a second shooter here, Trump's head's out, he's waving, he's wearing a vest, as they all do. His right arm is up, as you'll see here, when he was pumping, and maybe he's already done that, pumping, yeah. A good shooter will be able to put a slug under that armpit really easily. And then off he goes. Now, his head's visible the whole way down the stairs, and then old mate here decides, oh, yeah, I'll put my hand up to shield his head. Oh, no, I won't. Oh, yes, I will. Oh, no, I won't. And then Trump's here. His head's, shoulder height above these guys before getting into the van. If there was another well, they would have had plenty of opportunity to blow Trump's head off, is what I'm saying. Don't think the Secret Service did a terribly flash job, so I'm not thinking that they really were Secret Service. Or if they were, they need their asses kicked. Ordinarily, the president wouldn't be walked out calmly. They would literally pick him up and run him out. They would double him over and run him out. It just doesn't quite. Anyway, Trump's also a very strong man, obviously. He wasn't going to go anywhere if there was a bit of blood to be shown. And that image that's gone around the world is certainly a very powerful image. I'm not trying to suggest that we should doubt in any way that he wasn't shot. I believe he was shot. But mentioning the Secret Service and the protection detail, you sort of got me thinking about a few other things. Speaking of other things, let's just... Well, I got another interesting video to play for you, but this time it doesn't focus on Donald Trump. So I'll play you the front part of the full-length video again. Watch this. Now, just watch the background. I just want you to watch the background, all right? A lot of concerned people, for sure. A lot of people ducking and weaving and all that. Would you agree? I would agree. I would say that's exactly what's happened. All right. Let's watch this from a different perspective. This time, the video I'm going to play you is zoomed in a different portion of the screen.
Something that said, take a look at what happened.
All right. I probably should have stopped this right at the start. I want you to take a look at the top left of that sign that's behind Donald Trump, the "You are fired" or "Biden, you're fired." Right beside the Instagram logo, there is a man, or there is a hat. There's a black head. You can see a fella, black glasses, black hat, and to his left, our right, you'll see a hat. Keep watching that hat.
Take a look at what happened.
Notice anything weird about that at all? Anything at all? Have another watch. Nope, didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to block the audio off. So sorry about the all these socials logos over his face, but that changes here in a second. Watch the big fella beside him, who I think is carrying a weapon. And keep an eye on the bloke with the red hat beside him, and the red shirt and the red hat and the MAGA cap. Now, he's going to sit down here shortly. This is while all the Secret Service are still down there on the ground carrying on like pork chops. And now I've slowed it down a little here. And let's have a closer look at him. This is a man cool as a cucumber. Does not flinch when the shots fire. Does not move. Just casually lifts his head to see what's going on. Same with the bloke beside him. In fact, there's a few there in the crowd that don't make a move. Now watch this. The crowd is about to start chanting USA, USA. Now I've slowed the video down and we're going to zoom back in on him. But I want you to try and figure out if he is actually, you probably won't be able to figure out what he's saying, but tell me whether or not you think it is USA, USA. Keep watching this. What do you reckon that was? You know, I don't think it was USA. And I haven't actually had a good look at it in real time to try and figure it out. I'm not much of a lip reader. Maybe there are people here who can read lips and do better things than me. But yes, Katrina, well done. Points for you. Vincent Fuchsia. Well, that's how I'm going to say his name. Fusca. He is a very interesting character, a rabbit hole well worth a journey down if you've never been down it. Why? Well, he could be known by other names. And I say he could be because, well, nobody's ever proved anything just yet. However, he is a man that is seen at every Trump rally. He is always somewhere in the background. He's always there. He's apparently always around Trump. Interesting character, a very worthy rabbit hole to go down. Why? Because, well, let's say the answer might start with a J and end in Junior. Might not too, but it could be that kind of an interesting John Denver. Elva. I got to say, I shouldn't be laughing because there's a school of thought that John Denver might be one of those that come back to us when all is said and done. And hey, it just might be. You never know. Is that what you reckon, Aiden? All right. Down with Trump. Down with Trump. Hang on a minute. Let's go back to it.
Something that said, Take a look at what.
I don't think so. Down with Trump. No, doesn't quite work. I think lip reading skills are probably as good as mine, mate. We'll have another go somewhere else. Definitely not you. No, Nev. I think you're 100% on my side of the fence with that. I can't figure it out. JFK. I don't think he says JFK, but you might be on the path there. Toxic. Junior, I did say, didn't I? Ends with Junior. Here's Russ. Yep, always front and center in the rallies. And yes, I have said it before. That is the disguise that he uses, and he's been seen everywhere. He's been seen at UFC events. He's been seen at every Trump rally. He has been seen at Mar-a-Lago at events there while Trump was president. I don't know if there's much intel that gets out of Mar-a-Lago these days now that he's not president. So, yeah, there are a few things there, I think, that are curious, just to say the least. So I thought, you might find a little bit of what's been plaguing my mind interesting. I hope, you did find it a little interesting. I'm particularly keen on doing a bit more on these. Because it is possible that second and lower, if you like, waveform that we see on here is the first return. The much deeper shots, I believe, are much higher caliber weapons. It's just hard to tell in some cases what's an echo and what's not. So, interesting times. And I think Trump caught one to the right side of the chest as well. Vincent looks like he was surveying the area. Yep, look the other way when people look toward the shooter. Yep, lubricant spraying out. Didn't being looked at. Yep, I agree. He doesn't seem surprised in any way, shape, or form about what's going on. Does he look like he's expecting it? Well, his head is down, so you can't gauge whether or not he's saying, all right, it's got to be any minute, it's got to be any minute, it's got to be any minute, His head is down. The first shot rings out before he lifts his head. He lifts his head about the second shot, and there is no change in facial expression. Others around him, and same with the big guy to his right, but everybody else is reacting in some way then to the first gunshot, and then the second. The screaming doesn't begin until the last gunshot, which is interesting. We are told that a police chief, former Buffalo police fire chief, I think, was killed protecting his daughter in the gunfire and was hit in the head. So that would indicate that the first shot isn't the shot that got, well, it isn't the shot that killed him, because the first shot alerted him that his daughter needed protecting for him to be shot protecting his daughter. So somewhere after the first shot, the second or the third is where the police chief may have been hit in the backfire, if you like, from, or crossfire from the weapon. He may also have been hit in the indiscriminate and very rapid 4 or 5 shots that old mate tried putting in once the Secret Service had Trump on the ground. So I don't know. The analysis of the audio, I think, bears going a little bit further. A lot of people are saying it wasn't Trump. The hat was pulled down low. We've seen that before at events where they've said they're using a clone or a double or something like that. I can't remember which was the last one that I saw that at. I don't know. How would you tell? So got to go with what the movie script says at this moment, and that was Trump for, whichever side you believe. The other two are ex-military. Crunchy. What the other two? What was I talking about? The other two snipers, military weapons, maybe. Yeah, echoes. Yeah, I think you're right, Vince. I've been umming and ahhing about them all evening while I've been editing this whole thing out. But then, when there are echoes, you have to consider microphone placement, and you've got to consider where everybody was at the time things were happening. So where was everybody? Let me just find this. All right, so you can see Donald Trump was down sort of to the right, toward the bottom, the shooter up towards the center left, and the distance between them about 150 meters. The snipers were situated on a rooftop behind Donald Trump. One would assume, given that we have seen the sniper's position, that he is on the left edge of one of the buildings there that Donald Trump was standing in front of. Where the hell did that bloody picture go? I've moved it and it's disappeared. Right. So I would say that they are either on the middle or the top of those 3 buildings there. All of them, and particularly the sniper himself, says he had great line of sight, was watching this bloke for 3 minutes and couldn't shoot. There's plenty of video out there from people in the crowd telling police, telling officials that there is a man with a gun on the roof of that building, and they might want to do something about it. No action being taken. The sniper himself says 100% the top brass prevented me from killing the assassin before he took the shots. Speaking of the assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks. Now, Thomas Matthew Crooks' school friends have come out and said that Thomas had tried numerous times to join the school shooting team and hadn't had much luck. So he apparently applied 2 or 3 times and was such a bad shot they invited him never to come back and apply again. So we have a bloke who is a very bad shot, apparently, trying to be a sniper. And then, as you may have seen last night, there was a video released after the FBI had said or released a statement saying that they'd identified the sniper as this young Thomas Matthew Crooks. This video turned up.
My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
Yeah. So weird. There's also stories floating around from this guy's father, who finds it extremely strange that this would have happened. Most people who knew him would have picked him as a Republican, not a Democrat, not somebody who hated Republicans. So, all right. And he winds up dead on a roof from a sniper who was deliberately told not to shoot, not given orders or not given permission to shoot, disobeyed those orders, killed the shooter, and got sacked within hours. thrown out on the street, sacked within hours for disobeying orders, and then gets onto the boards and makes that statement within hours. Do you think we might be being fed something here, folks? I don't know. I'm not a smart man, I keep saying. But does it smell right to you? You know? I just find it, yeah, I don't know, a bit weird. Wild Aussie woman, yeah, a bit late tonight. Well, you didn't expect to see me. No, well, turns out I've done the show twice tonight. The first time you didn't see any of it for some reason. And I am sure I hit the go live button. I am sure of it. So anyway, went for nearly an hour, and then the whole system had a conniption. I had to log back in, and I was looking for comments because I was seeing comments. But yeah, there was no live stream going. So very weird. Anyway, so we restarted, and what are we? We're 51 minutes into it. So welcome to go back and have a little bit of a look. Phased is exactly the words for Vincent in the background of Mr. Trump. Totally unfazed. Yes, good eyes, Jono. There's a woman on the other side, smiles and starts filming. There are a number of people who take out cameras after Trump goes down and start filming. Now, that could just be a morbid thing. But there are people who are ready to go. Maybe they're just there filming, saying, oh, here I am in the crowd, the back of Trump's head, looking out to 50,000 people, they're saying there in the grounds. Very exciting. But you don't generally see too many people with mobile phones doing that in the background with Trump, do you? So, I don't know. There is a few inconsistencies here. Not least which of the fact is the Secret Service seem to be having a few issues. Yeah, I would have thought that would be a very large red flag. And it's usually Secret Service or military snipers that are on the roof. Hard to get sacked. So this guy was a police sniper by the sound of it. It's the only way that he was going to get sacked because they're public servant. Clearly put the pressure on the locals to do it. I'm assuming, judging by his statement, that he is not with the FBI and not, one of their assault teams or sniper teams. So they would have protected him, you would have thought. And why was it so important? Well, here's the other thing. Why would they let him out within hours and not have gagged him from saying anything at all about his involvement in this? Instead, we have this statement where he's explaining the whole thing, and I've been sacked within hours. And they've thrown him back out on the street. Of course he was going to come out and say something, come straight to the media. Well, that'll be the next telling thing. I haven't seen it, and maybe by tomorrow morning we might start seeing it. But Jonathan Wills will probably end up on Tucker Carlson. If he's real. If it's a real story. I think Tucker's discerning enough to probably smell a few weird things going on here too. Let's see whether or not this bloke turns up anywhere. Because at the moment, it's just a bunch of words written on a bit of paper that's been sent around the world a few times. Not even written on a bit of paper. It's written on ones and zeros, isn't it? So, yeah, I'd be a bit careful about it. Aiden. So, Thomas Crooks has donated to the Democrats before getting registered as a Republican. Is that what you're trying to say? That's quite possible. Mark Violets was the name given. I'm not sure I got that one, Jay. Yeah, Mim. I've got certain issues about certain things. One of the other things, I didn't load it up, and I won't hold you up tonight with it now that I've done the show once already and it is getting late. But go and have a look yourself. Now, look, I've never been shot in the ear. I've never seen anybody shot in the ear, never known anybody to be shot in the ear. I do know, when I break skin, I generally bleed, not instantly, but reasonably quick. I guess it sort of depends on what your blood's like, and mine thankfully clots pretty quick, touch wood. But Donald Trump, when he reaches for his ear and goes down, I've slowed all that vision down and focused right in on his hand as well, and I can't see any blood on it. And you'll notice too, if you go back and watch it yourself, when he's doing the whole fist pumping thing, there is no blood on his hand, but you wouldn't probably expect to see it if he was, with a clenched fist. But what would you do if you got hit? It'd be those two fingers you'd be looking for, wouldn't it? Maybe your thumb, but mostly those two. That's what I find my reach for if I'm looking for my ear or something there. It'd be those two, maybe the third. So no blood. The bloodlines on the cheek and down to his, lower jawline, I don't know what it is. There's something bugging me about them too. Once again, I ain't no blood specialist. And I'm just trying to figure out how the blood from the bullet wound, which would have been going from the front of his face toward the back of his head, even when he fell to the ground, how this blood has got across his cheek and the blood that's, sort of going up over his lower jaw and lower lip. Now, maybe that was from pressure being put on the ground by the Secret Service, has nothing at all to do with the bullet. It's just, I don't know. There's something about that just... Wish I'd taken more notice of angles and geometry and shit when I was in school. But there's just... It could be blood splatter, but... I don't know. Force, motion, velocity. It's possible. It's possible. A couple of bits of skin or blood shot backwards. And that's where they ended up, just simply because he was turning his head at the time. So, I don't know, but I find there's something about that picture. It just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit weird that way. I think, didn't she drop her gun, or she ran up hanging onto the gun? Then she stopped to pick up Trump's hat rather than to look after his head or to block the hole. I'm not having a go at the lady here. The Secret Service ladies are extremely highly trained and a very important part of the service, I am sure. However, I would have thought you wouldn't put the short one at the front of the stage to protect the primary. If you notice, everybody else gathered around Trump stands, half a head to a head higher, taller than he is. There's a reason for that, so that they can bend him over and cover him, which clearly they didn't do a very good job of, as we've already discussed. But do you put an agent that's 5 foot, she's a foot shorter than just about everybody, well, than each bloke on each side of her. She's hanging like a scarecrow over their shoulders. And left 2 opportunities, at least, maybe 3, for a clear front-on shot, should there have been a second sniper or third or fourth in the crowds waiting for an opportunity had Trump survived the first attempt. Secret Service don't usually have open neck collars. Now, I'm not saying that they can't have open neck collars, and certainly there are usually a lot of undercover Secret Service that dress in, jeans and T-shirts. but they're not usually on stage or part of the protection detail, the close protection detail with the president. Some of these people I don't think have been part of a close protection detail at all for very long. I'm wondering if he was training new staff in Trump staff in the ways of Secret Service operations, and is hoping to bring some of those back in November, if and when the election happens and he wins, which this assassination attempt probably gives him a very significant leg up to doing. That leaves us with Joe Biden. Well, Joe is saying nice things about Donald now. He's not just calling him that man or Trump. It's Donald now, and of course is calling for calm. Makes him sick that people will go out and shoot political opposition and try and quell the opposition or the presidential candidates like that. And look, he had to come out and say something. My question would be, will you remember what he said tomorrow, much less care? This must have blown up the Democrats' plans significantly. What do they do with Biden? Well, I guess they could have him die of natural causes. They could have him agree that it's time to step down, and there is increasingly some talk louder in the mainstream media of that happening again. But this whole tsunami of the Trump shooting, I mean, there were news networks and television networks that went live 24 hours a day on this and maybe are still going on it. They must be replaying the same bit of footage over and 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 over. And it's all happening in New York as well, where a lot of people have turned up at Trump Tower to support him. So if the Democrats arranged this or knew anything about it, somebody knew about it to stop the order to have the guy shot by the sniper who'd been looking at him for 3 minutes. So I don't know. There's so much about this that smells significantly weird. And it just looks weird when old mate Vincent isn't shouting USA in the background. I got no idea what he is shouting. Good luck to you trying to find that one out too. So yeah, weird. Anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts with all of that with you tonight. I hope you have a very good evening. I'm sorry that the show has run so late this evening, and I'll endeavour to do better tomorrow. And I swear I hit the button go live the first time. I will find out shortly, because there are ulterior recordings that happen of this. So I'll either have the first show, which didn't go out for some reason, and I'll be able to figure it out, or I won't have it. Anyway, we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Be very safe if you're out on the roads, folks. Have yourself a great night, and as always, watch those dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!